This video is going to talk about how you use the physical ATEM switcher. I did a little bit about this in a room walkthrough, but also this is just a very basic understanding. Like all the other videos that you might see on this playlist, I am not trying to teach you everything about these devices. I am not trying to make it so you don't have to watch another video from the manufacturer or read the manual. I'm just giving you some basics on how it works here at Lutheran West so you understand how we might turn some of this stuff on. This does not have a power switch. This is the ATEM switcher, and a lot of times you'll come in here and this will actually be on. The only way that it's going to be turned off is if you unplug the power cord from the back or from down at the wall. That's it. But this is the thing that really determines what camera you're really using for a shot. So we're taking a whole bunch of inputs, we're mixing them together, and we're sending out an output. Now, in here, that will already be on. These two screens are related to this right now, and behind the bottom right corner, there's a button, there's a little joystick button. If you push that button in, it will turn on the screen. So we'll turn those on right now. And then another thing that has to happen, they should come on in just a second. Another thing that has to happen is the switch over here has to be turned on because this unit underneath right here is a fiber optic converter. So all of our cameras go here first before they eventually make their way back here. I have a video on signal flow for the video component, the walkthrough in there. That's really important to understand, but the long and short of it is everything goes back to the video hub in the back, and any input can go to any output, and you can assign it as necessary, either with the video hub on the back or through some software that's connected to the control network. Once that's on, if cameras are on, if this is on, we're pretty much good to go. So you can take one of these fancy chairs and come over here and we'll talk through what we're seeing here. On the top left, this is a multi-view, and this is showing you the different inputs. So we've got 8 possible inputs on here, although in this case, this color number 2 at the bottom is not one of the inputs. So you actually have some other things you can put on the screen, some media and stuff. And then this is showing right now your program feed, and so that's what's actually going out. If you were broadcasting to something like Boxcast or YouTube or Facebook directly, this would go directly to there. But this doesn't actually, this one will record directly into a hard drive, or you can send this signal somewhere else and have it recording through like a little hyperdeck device or something else. So what you've got on this board are physical controls for almost everything that you need to switch. The bottom left corner is the most important area, and what you've got are 2 rows, and they're showing you which camera is on air. If it's red, that means it's currently the program. Now, I only have a couple cameras turned on. One of them is camera 2, which is showing like this TV in the background, and the other one's this camera 4, and it's red right now, so that means it's on the program. But if you look over here at the program in this window or over on that window, you'll realize we don't see camera 2. And the reason for that is there's something laying on top of it. So over here on the sides, you're going to see some downstream key buttons. That's what DSK stands for. And if that's red, it means it's on air too. Right now, downstream key 2 is receiving information from the iMac that's over on the side. And I'll have a little video on ProPresenter too. But there's a graphic on there that covers the whole screen, and it layers first before everything else, so we can't see this. Now if I turn this off, I'm going to hit the cut button. Now you can see that camera. So you'll see in red we've got that camera, and that's what's going to our program. And then if I switch, there's a green one too, and that's our preview. So down here we've got another layer which tells us what we're looking at, and we can go back and forth between a couple of different things and see what we might have for our preview. There's a preview window down here, or whatever's in green, and that would mean whenever we make a transition, we're going to switch to that. You can transition by using this T-bar here and manually crossfade. So I went from my program source to my preview, and then they switched here and on the buttons. But there's a couple other ways we can make a transition. We can hit the cut button, which will instantly move between program and preview, or I can hit the auto button, and it'll follow whatever's in this little area right here. You'll see it says dip, digital video effect with DVE, stinger, wipe, arm, mix. Mix is the best one, honestly, and there's some settings that you can change with that. So these key buttons matter a whole lot. There's actually a key loaded in media player number 1 right now, and that is this little video bug. And so if you wanted to have that on screen all the time, you can hit the key button cut to turn it on and see it. You're always going to see in the preview what it looks like, what it's going to look like when something changes. Although actually it doesn't show the downstream key of the preview. Normally it does, or I thought it did. doesn't really matter. You also have an auto transition underneath this. So if you watch what happens to this graphic on the screen, when I hit the auto button, what it's going to do is slowly fade just that overlay in or out. You also have this button up here that says tie. And when we hit the tie button, what we're saying is next time we make a transition, I want that to change. So here we go. And boom, it came off with the other thing. And now when I turn it on, it goes back on because this tie button is on. If I don't want it to go on or off the next time, turn the tie button off and it'll stay the way that it is. It's usually easier just to use one of these cut or auto buttons instead. You also have on the bottom right this button that says FTB, which stands for fade to black. It's like a panic button. If I push that, it literally just makes my whole program feed go black. And you see how it's blinking down here? Nothing is going to show up if that button's on. Don't hit it by accident. There's rails here to prevent you from hitting it. It's a panic button. That is all. So aside from that, you've got some other controls. There's all kinds of controls for audio that you can use here. The only thing to notice about this is that with audio, when you're in any particular thing, you can arm something. And you have 3 different options on this little screen. So it's off when it's like this. You have AFV, which stands for audio follows video, or on, which means you're always going to hear from that source. Audio follows video means if it's on the program feed, you're going to hear it, and if it's not on the program feed, you're not. But if you're dealing with something else, you might want it on all the time, which is where the on button would come in. We only have one thing that's on, which is the XLR button, which is in the second bank here. That's on all the time. That's receiving our feed from our sound mixer, and that's what is really going to go to program. Most of the time, you're not going to use anything else. But you got so many options in here. All these buttons up here are giving you some information about what's going on in the mixer. You actually have the ability to control cameras from here if you want to control the white balance on the cameras or the fades and things like that. And you also have over here in the center this macro button. This macro button turns this third row up here to some pre-made things that you can create and record in here. If you don't know what to do with that, you look at the manual or talk to somebody else who knows, or just don't use them. The other thing that I want you to note is in the center we've got these other keys. So it says background right now, but we've got key 1, key 2, key 3, and information on those keys, and an on or an off. So what it's telling you when this bottom row is highlighted is what's going to change. You want the background button listed all the time, so it will switch between the program and the preview feed. If that background button is not on, then it's going to change only, like let's say key 1, I pushed on key 1, and you can see in the preview, I've got the camera set, oh, it's actually part of what that other one is. It's showing you what's going to come on screen for the next section. Although that's not really doing it right now, so I don't know what the story with that is. But be on background for this one. If you push 2 of these buttons at once, background and key 1, you'll change both of those things on the next transition. Most of what we do here is we just use background. So how do you know what's coming into each individual source? Well, that's all what physically comes in through the cable on the back here for the inputs. The way you're going to determine that really is through the video hub in the back or software for it. You can assign anything that we have coming to that video hub into one of these inputs and you can use it. But for the most part, we've got 4 cameras that run via fiber optic. We've got a couple extra cameras that you have something extra on if you want. And then we have, in 7 and 8, we have the iMac coming with its key and fill so that we can do graphics and things. So downstream key 2 will keep the iMac stuff on, and if you change it so that there's a blank thing, it'll show what's going on underneath. If you really just need that whole thing gone, you can cut. And you can set what is in those downstream keys in the software when you know what you're doing. That's just the briefest way to understand this. There's only one other part to it, which is you can control this entire switcher from software as well. I'll do a video on that as well to show you what ATEM software control looks like as long as you're connected to the control network. But it's nice to have tactile controls for adjusting things.